Ethan Cole stood in the middle of the lab, looking at the small alien creature inside the glass chamber. The creature had shiny dark eyes, short soft fur, and sharp little teeth. It looked like a mix between a cat and a lizard, with a long tail that flicked slowly. Ethan smiled as he turned to his crewmates. "Sweet Fang," he said with a laugh. "Like a cute pet until you see those teeth." The others chuckled. "Olivia," the ship's mechanic shook her head. "You keep joking around, but one day it's going to bite your hand off." Ethan grinned and turned back to the creature. He didn't think it would. It had been found during their last expedition to planet Ether-9, a strange green world filled with fog and tall plants that moved even when there was no wind. The creature had walked right up to Ethan, calm and curious. Instead of running or hiding, it had sniffed his boot and then followed him back to the shuttle. They had scanned it, checked it for diseases, and tested its brain. All right. The results had surprised everyone. It was not dangerous, not sick, and smarter than most animals. The captain had allowed Ethan to keep it under observation. Now, it was sitting on its back legs, watching him. When he leaned closer to the glass, it tilted its head. "You really do like me, don't you?" he said softly. It tapped on the glass 3 times. Ethan blinked. That wasn't random. Eck! It had done that before, but this time it was faster, more focused. He tapped back 2 times. The creature tapped once, then moved in a small circle. Olivia, who had stayed behind to help him clean the lab, watched with wide eyes. "That's not normal animal stuff, Ethan. That's learning," he nodded. "Yeah, I think it's trying to talk." Captain Nora Hayes walked in, her face tight with concern. She looked at the creature, then at Ethan. "I've been reviewing the footage. That thing is picking up more than expected. Can't ignore it." Ethan stood up straight. "It hasn't shown any danger. Not yet. But it's too early to tell. I want more scans. Keep it under control. If anything strange happens, we move it off the ship." Ethan wanted to argue, but stopped. The captain was just doing her job. He nodded. Understood. That night, he stayed in the lab longer than usual. Fang, as he now called it, without even thinking, had started following his voice. If he read aloud, it moved closer to the sound. If he asked a question, it would blink or tap. When he left for dinner, Fang scratched at the glass gently, making a low humming sound. It almost sounded like a soft call. The next day, Ethan came in early. Glass door was open. He froze. Olivia hadn't come in yet, and no one else had clearance. He looked around the lab. Fang was sitting calmly on his desk. Its tail flicked slowly, and its eyes watched him with focus. Not fear, not wildness, calm, knowing. He stepped closer. "Did you open the door?" The creature gave a low sound again, then it pointed its paw toward the computer screen. Ethan turned it on. There was a new file on the screen named Log Start. He opened it. The words appeared, simple and slow. Observe, learn, choose. He stared at the screen, then at Fang. "Are you writing this?" The creature looked at him, then tapped the desk once. Ethan sat down, heart beating fast. He had made a joke about a name. Now, Sweet Fang was sitting on his desk, tapping patterns, possibly opening doors, and using the computer. He whispered to himself, "This just got real." Outside the lab, the ship's hallway lights flickered for a second. No one noticed, except Fang. Her tail stopped moving, and her eyes narrowed. Ethan missed it. He was too busy typing back. "Who are you?" The reply came slowly. "Friend." Ethan sat in the lab chair, staring at the screen. The word friend was still there. He looked over at the small alien sitting quietly on his desk. Its tail flicked slowly, and its dark eyes watched him without blinking. He typed back, "Why are you here?" The creature leaned forward and tapped the keyboard once. Then it waited. Ethan didn't know what to do, so he spoke out loud. "You understand me better than I thought. Are you learning our language?" The creature tilted its head, and it made a soft sound that was almost like a copy of his voice. It wasn't perfect, but it was close enough to make him freeze. It was trying to speak like him. Captain Nora came in before he could ask more questions. She looked at Fang and then at the computer screen. "Anything new?" Ethan nodded. "She's learning fast. She copied my voice." She typed back, "She might be smarter than we thought." The captain crossed her arms. "She? You gave it a name and a gender now?" Ethan looked at Fang. It feels right. Feelings are dangerous, Ethan. Don't forget that. You're a scientist. Think with facts, not with your heart. He didn't argue, but he didn't agree either. Later that day, more strange things happened. The ship's AI named Ivy started acting different. It paused in the middle of sentences. It repeated data twice. It even opened the wrong doors. The engineers thought it was a glitch, but Ethan wasn't sure. When he came back to the lab, Fang was sitting near the speaker where Ivy's voice usually came from. She was humming again, very low, almost like a signal.
Ow.
When Ivy spoke again, the voice sounded slightly different, slower, almost like someone else was learning to use it. Ethan Cole, your access to the bridge is now ... open. That was wrong. You didn't have bridge access. He turned to Fang. Did you do that? She blinked once. Then she jumped down and walked across the floor, tail swaying. She stopped at the lab door and looked back at him. He followed her. Fang led him through the ship. Every door opened before she reached it. No one else was in the halls. It was quiet. Too quiet. When they reached the observation deck, Fang jumped onto a console and tapped it. The glass wall turned clear, showing space. A bright blue planet spun slowly in the distance. Ethan had never seen it before. That's not on the chart, he said. Fang made a soft trill. The console showed symbols that were not in any human language. But somehow, Ethan understood a few of them. He had seen them in old alien ruins. The creature knew them, but wanted him to see. Back in the control room, Olivia and Captain Nora were talking. Something's wrong with Ivy, Olivia said. She's not acting right. It's like someone else is controlling her. Nora looked at Ethan as he entered. We saw the access change. Ivy let you on the bridge. How? I didn't do anything, Ethan said. Fang did. She showed me a planet. It's not in our data. She's showing us something. Nora frowned. That's not good. If she can control our AI, she can control the ship. That's not a pet. That's a threat. No, Ethan said quickly. She's not a threat. She hasn't hurt anyone. She's teaching us. She's trying to talk. Olivia stepped forward. Ethan, you saw her open doors and change system access. What if she decides we're the threat? Fang appeared behind Ethan, eyes calm. She walked into the room and sat near the center table. She looked at each person one by one, then she tapped her tail 3 times. The lights dimmed. A soft hum filled the air. The ship's screen lit up again, showing a map. It wasn't just one planet, it was hundreds. Paths between stars, symbols around each system. It was a star chart. Ethan whispered, she's showing us a map. A whole network, maybe even her home. Nora looked at Fang. Why now? Why us? Fang made a single low sound. The screen changed. A new word appeared. Test. Olivia stepped back. What kind of test? Ethan looked at Fang. She's here to see who we are if we're ready. Fang flicked her tail once, her eyes closed, then opened again slowly. The test had begun. The crew of the Aurora Drift was no longer calm. People were whispering in the halls. Doors opened and closed without commands. The lights flickered every few hours. Some thought it was just system errors. Others believed something else was happening. Ethan knew it was all connected to Fang. Fang had stopped using the keyboard and the speaker. Now she used her eyes, her tail, and even short flashes of light from her skin. She communicated through sound and movement. Ethan spent hours trying to understand her signals. He was sure she was trying to help. But the rest of the crew didn't see it that way. Lieutenant Carter, head of security, was the first to speak up. She's dangerous. She's changing the ship. Ivy doesn't speak the same way anymore. The thing is inside our systems. Captain Nora stayed silent during the meeting. Her eyes were on the table, deep in thought. Olivia stood beside Ethan. What if she's fixing something we broke? Maybe she's protecting us. We don't know her purpose yet. Carter shook his head. She's not protecting anyone. Look at what happened to the cameras on Deck 3. Wiped clean. Who else could do that? Ethan said nothing. He had checked the logs. The footage was gone. But right before it disappeared, Fang had passed through that deck. She wasn't running or hiding. She was calm, just walking. Later that night, Ethan returned to his lab. Fang was there, as always, waiting. She walked over and nudged a small metal cube toward him. It was smooth and cold. When he touched it, it opened. Inside was a tiny glass disc with glowing lines. He placed it in the scanner. The screen showed ancient symbols, like the ones they saw before. As the ship translated the data, Ethan felt a chill. It was a warning, not from Fang, from her makers. The message spoke of a power hidden across stars, a race that left behind guardians, watchers, and tests. The guardians looked harmless, but only the ones who passed the test could learn from them. The others would be blocked or removed. Fang was one of them. Ethan looked at her. "Is that what you're doing? Watching us? Judging us?" Fang made no sound. She only blinked. The ship shook suddenly. Alarms went off. Ethan ran to the hallway. Lights turned red. Nora's voice came over the speaker. "All crew to stations. Unknown object near the ship. Possible threat." Ethan picked up Fang and rushed to the control room. Outside, in the black sky, a dark shape floated. It was not from Earth. It was made of sharp angles, and it glowed with pale blue lights. "Is that from her species?" Olivia asked. Ethan wasn't sure. But Fang growled for the first time, a low, deep sound. Her fur stood on end. Carter raised his weapon. "That's it. She brought them here. We're under attack." "No," Ethan said. "She's warning us. Look at her. She's scared." Captain Nora stared at the screen. The object was moving closer. No signals, no words, just silence. Fang jumped from Ethan's arms and ran to the ship's main panel. Her paws tapped fast. The screen changed. Shield went up around the ship. Systems locked. Ivy's voice came back, but different. "Defense mode active. Threat confirmed." The object fired a beam, but it hit the shield. The ship shook again. Lights dimmed. Everyone held their breath. Fang turned to Ethan. Her eyes were bright. She tapped the floor once. "Help," she whispered. Ethan nodded. He ran to the second panel and followed her commands. She showed him how to send a pulse wave. It hit the enemy ship, breaking its power source. The object floated away, dead in space. Silence returned. Captain Nora looked at Ethan, then at Fang. "She saved us." Ethan sat down, breathing hard. She was never the threat. She was the shield. Fang climbed back onto his desk and curled her tail around her body. Her eyes closed slowly, but not everyone was sure. Carter still looked at her with fear. The crew had seen what she could do. Now they had to decide what to do next. The ship floated silently in deep space. Everyone was still shaken by what had happened. The strange enemy object had vanished, and Fang had saved them all. But fear still filled the ship. The crew didn't know what to believe anymore. Captain Nora called a private meeting. Only Ethan, Olivia, and Carter were there. "We need answers," Nora said. "We can't keep guessing. We saw what she can do." "I need to know why she's really here." Carter folded his arms. "I still think she's dangerous. She helped us once, sure. But what if she turns next time?" "She won't," Ethan said. "She's trying to show us something. She gave me that cube. She gave us a warning. We're being tested." Nora looked at him. "There's something else." The ship picked up a structure nearby. It was hidden before. It just revealed itself. "Same symbols we've seen from her." Olivia leaned forward. "You think it's connected to her species?" "I do," the captain said. "We're going to check it out, but I want her under watch. No more surprises." The next day, the shuttle left the Aurora Drift. Ethan, Olivia, and 2 others flew toward the alien structure. Fang sat quietly beside Ethan, eyes wide, tail wrapped around her body. The structure was large and floating near a quiet moon. It looked broken in places, but light still glowed across its surface. The shuttle landed on a flat platform. As they stepped out, the door opened by itself. Inside, the air was still and cold. The walls were smooth, with strange shapes that shifted color. Fang moved ahead of them, guiding the way. "Ah!" She didn't pause or look back. "She's been here before," Olivia whispered. They reached a large room. In the center stood a glowing pillar. Fang sat down and tapped her paw 3 times. The pillar lit up. Holograms filled the images of stars, creatures, ships, and cities. They moved fast, too fast to count. Then a voice filled the room. It didn't speak with sound. It spoke with thoughts. This is a place of judgment. Only those who seek knowledge with peace may enter. The Guardian watches. The Guardian chooses. The voice faded, the lights dimmed. Fang stood and walked to the pillar. She pressed her head against it. More images appeared. One showed Earth, another showed the Aurora Drift. Then Ethan's face. "She chose you," Olivia said, eyes wide. "You're part of the test." Ethan looked at the images. He saw war, peace, science, and hope. Then he saw fire, hunger, and pain. The structure was showing them everything. Human history. The good and the bad. "They're not just watching us," he said. "They're deciding if we're ready, if we're safe." One more image appeared. A warning. A black wave moving across stars, swallowing worlds. The voice returned. The threat returns. The Guardians seek allies. You rise or fall. Fang stepped back. Her eyes were sad. She looked tired. On the way back to the ship, no one spoke. Even Carter said nothing. They all felt the weight of what they had seen. Back on the Aurora Drift, Captain Nora listened to their report. She stood by the window, arms crossed. So she's a messenger, a judge, maybe even a protector. And now we're on the edge of something bigger. Ethan nodded. She chose us, not just me. It's all of us. She came to learn if we could be trusted, and Nora asked, "Have we passed the test?" "I don't know," Ethan said. "But she's still here. That means something." Fang sat on the desk again, watching the stars. Her tail flicked slowly. She didn't sleep. She only watched. Deep in the ship, Ivy's systems ran smoother than before. No more errors. The lights were steady. The strange changes had stopped, but a new signal had started. A soft pulse, slow and steady. It came from the far edge of space, placed beyond their charts. Fang's ears moved at the sound. She looked at Ethan. Something was coming. And this time, it would not be a test. The pulse from deep space grew stronger each day. It was steady, like a heartbeat. Ivy tracked it, but could not find its exact source. Fang listened to it with full focus. Every time the pulse came, she closed her eyes and stayed still, as if remembering something. Ethan watched her closely. She had become more quiet. She no longer made soft sounds or used the keyboard. She only listened. Something was changing in her. Captain Nora called another meeting. "This signal is calling something or someone. I want answers before it reaches us. We need to know if this is a warning or an invitation." Ethan looked at Fang. Think she knows, but she's scared. Whatever's coming, ... it's not peaceful. Carter was not convinced. Then it's time to act. We put her in lockdown, no more chances. If she's a danger, we can't wait. "She's not a danger," Olivia said. "She's part of the solution. She saved us once. She might have to do it again." The argument stopped when Ivy's voice echoed through the ship. "Unknown structure detected. Moving fast. No signal. Shape matches ancient design." They rushed to the observation deck. Outside, in the distance, a dark object moved through space. It looked like a spear of metal, long and thin, with lights that pulsed in the same pattern as the signal. Fang stood at the window. Her fur rose slightly. Her tail didn't move. She was frozen. "That's not a friend," Ethan said. The object stopped near the alien station they had visited before. Then, without warning, it fired a beam. The station exploded in silence. A cloud of metal and fire floated where the structure once stood. "They're destroying the old places," Olivia said. "They're wiping out the Guardians." Fang turned. She ran to the control room. Her paws tapped fast on the screen. Maps appeared. Symbols flashed. Ivy's voice changed again, now sounding like Fang. "Defense code unlocked. Human system accepted. Connection formed." "She's giving us something," Ethan said. "A way to fight back." The ship changed. Shields grew stronger. New controls lit up. Data poured into Ivy's system. The ship was becoming something new. Fang showed them a file. It had one word. Survive. Captain Nora looked at Ethan. "Can we trust this?" He nodded. "We have to. We're not just part of a test anymore. We're part of a war." The enemy ship turned. Now it was coming toward them. "Shields up," Nora ordered. "Prepare weapons." The ship had never used weapons before. It was a science vessel. and now it had tools left by an ancient race. Tools Fang had unlocked. The enemy fired again. This time the beam hit the shield and bounced back. The ship shook, but held. Fang moved to the screen. She looked at Ethan, then stepped onto the panel. Her body glowed. The ship's systems connected to her directly. She's giving herself to power the ship, Olivia said. She's the key. Ethan stepped forward. Fang, don't. It could hurt you. Fang didn't stop. The ship's lights turned blue. The engines roared louder. Ivy's voice came back, clear and calm. Target locked. Response prepared. Captain Nora gave the order. Fire. A bright beam shot from the Aurora Drift. It hit the enemy ship. The metal cracked, broke, and then melted into silence. The threat was gone, but Fang had fallen still. Her body was cold. She didn't move. Ethan rushed to her. He picked her up and held her close. Please wake up. You saved us. You did it. For a moment, there was nothing. Then Fang's tail moved, just a little. She opened her eyes slowly. They were dim, but alive. Ivy spoke again. Guardian system stable. Energy low. Rest needed. Ethan smiled with tears in his eyes. You're okay? Fang closed her eyes again. This time not from pain, from peace. She had shown them what they could become, and she had trusted them with the future. Now they had to carry that trust forward, because more was coming. The ship drifted in space, quiet and still. The crew moved slowly, checking damage and helping each other. The battle was over, but the feeling of danger still hung in the air. Fang was resting in the med bay, connected to soft lights and scanners. Breathing was light, almost silent. Ethan sat beside her. He hadn't left the room since the fight. He watched the scanner closely, hoping to see her energy rise. Olivia came in with a cup of water and handed it to him. She's strong, Olivia said. She just needs time. Ethan nodded. She gave everything. The ship would be gone without her. Across the ship, systems were coming back online. Ivy was fully stable. Shields were stronger. The engines had changed. They now used something new, something from Fang's shared data. They called it pulse energy. Oh no. No one fully understood it yet, but it worked. Captain Nora stood in the control room. She watched the star map Fang had given them. It was no longer just a chart, it was a key. A guide to places no human had reached. Some stars had marks, others were dark. What do these symbols mean? She asked. Ivy responded. Marked systems show ancient contact. Dark systems are lost. Warning signs active. How many are lost? Over 40. Nora looked at the dark marks. Something had wiped out many places. And whatever it was, it had found them now. Can we reach others like Fang possible? Coordinates found in unlocked files? Travel time varies. Nora turned to her crew. Then that's our new mission. Find the others. Find the rest of her kind. Ethan returned to the lab later and found Fang awake. She was sitting on the table, slow and calm. Her tail moved gently. Her eyes followed him. You're back, he said softly. You scared us. Fang looked at the screen and tapped once. A message appeared. Safe. Ready. Ethan smiled. We need you. There's more out there. Others like you. Or worse. Fang tapped again. Not alone. That evening, the crew gathered in the mess hall. Nora stood at the front and spoke clearly. This ship is no longer just a research vessel. We've been chosen for something bigger. We have knowledge no one else has. We've seen what's out there. She looked at the crew. We have a map. We have a mission. We are going to search for the lost systems. We're going to find allies. And we're going to prepare. Because more enemies will come. The crew clapped softly. Some looked scared. Others looked ready. Fang entered the room with Ethan. She walked calmly through the crowd. No one stopped her. No one doubted her now. She had become more than just a creature. She was part of the crew. Over the next few days, the ship made changes. Rooms were adjusted to hold alien data. New engines were tested. Fang helped unlock more parts of the system. She showed them how to make the ship stronger. One morning, Ivy made an announcement. New signal found. Weak. Possible Guardian trace. Nora looked at the screen. The signal came from a nearby system. The star was small and old. Set course, she said. Let's find them. As the ship moved, Ethan sat with Fang. She watched the stars again, tails slowly moving. "Did you always know we would help?" he asked. Fang didn't reply, but she leaned against his arm, just for a second. Then she looked back at the screen. They were no longer just explorers. They were something more. They carried a spark of a greater history. A war was coming, but they had time. They had knowledge. And they had her. The Aurora Drift moved into the dark space between stars, following the signal. And Fang's eyes never left the screen. The Aurora Drift moved deeper into unknown space. The ship was no longer just a research vessel. It was now a seeker, a protector, and a sign of hope. With every passing day, the crew learned more about the data Fang had shared. Every unlocked file gave them clues about the ancient race that created her, and about the dangers spreading across the stars. Ethan spent most of his time with Fang. She had changed again. Her body glowed slightly now, especially when near the ship's systems. She no longer needed to type. She could connect to Ivy just by being close. Her voice was clearer, even if still soft. "New place," she said one morning, standing by the window. Near. The signal they had tracked was coming from a small blue moon. It circled a dead planet with no name. Ivy had no record of the system. Crew gathered in the control room as they prepared to land. Captain Nora looked at Ethan. "She sure this is the place?" Ethan nodded. "She feels something. I believe her." The shuttle flew down through thick clouds. The surface below was quiet and frozen. But as they got closer, strange towers began to appear, sticking up from the ice. They were broken and worn by time, but still standing. Fang stepped forward once the ship landed. She didn't wait for anyone. She walked ahead into the ruins, her steps fast and steady. The crew followed, moving through the silent city. Lights still blinked on the walls, long forgotten by time. In the center of the ruins, they found a room filled with clear pods. Inside one of them, something moved. It looked like Fang, but larger and with markings across its skin. The pod opened as she approached. The creature stepped out, blinking in the light. It looked at Fang and then at the crew. It spoke with a voice like wind. "You found us." Fang bowed her head. Ethan stepped forward. "Who are you?" The being looked at him. "We are the memory of what was. This place was lost, hidden from the enemy. We waited for a sign. She is that sign." More pods began to glow. Others were waking up. They were not an army. They were guardians. Few in number, but strong in knowledge. "The darkness grows," the being said. "More worlds fall each year. But now we see a chance. You, her, this ship." Captain Nora stepped forward. "What can we do? Learn, prepare, unite. Not all will join you. Some will fear you. Others will try to stop you. Some will stand beside you." Fang looked at Ethan. Her eyes were clear. She had finished her first task. She had found her people. She had also found something else. A place to belong. The crew helped the Guardians repair their systems. They shared food, power, and data. In return, the Guardians shared history, maps, and warnings. Together, they began to plan. This moon would be a base, a safe point in the growing storm. Before they left, the lead Guardian gave Ethan a small device. It held a map, different from the last. This one showed paths to stars where others still waited. Other Guardians, other warnings. "She chose you," the being said. "You are her bond, her guide, her link to your kind. Protect her, and she will protect you." Ethan nodded, holding the device tightly. The Aurora Drift lifted off once again. But now it had more than a mission. It had allies, it had a purpose, and it had a path forward. Fang sat on Ethan's desk as always, tail flicking slowly. She watched the stars without blinking. She had seen the worst the galaxy could bring. But now she had hope. "Where to next?" Olivia asked. Ethan smiled. "Where the stars need us." The ship turned, engines bright, and moved into the deep dark. Behind them, the blue moon faded into distance. Ahead of them, a new future waited. Not easy, not safe, but filled with a chance to change everything. Fang's ears